Discovery, go at throttle up. Discovery, go at throttle up.
Okay. Morning, everybody. You are just in time. You are just in time for... Gotta get my space hat going. We got a rocket lab launch, dudes. Bring out an oldie but a goodie. Here we go. Bring out Space Force. Excellent. So, Rocket Lab just went live. Here we got the Owl for One for Owl launch. That's launching out of LC-1B in the Mahia Peninsula. This is the first of a bulk buy of 2 Electron launches by Synspective to deliver the Strix Strix satellites to low Earth orbit. Strix satellites can collect data with a ground resolution of 1 to 3 meters and a swath width of more than 10 to 30 kilometers. Each Electron will deliver 1 satellite into orbit. This will be overall the 5th Strix satellite launched by Rocket Lab for Synspective. All right, cool. Start orbital test after. Yeah, we should be able to do that. Talked about it yesterday. I don't remember much. Oh, I have weekly meetings on Mondays and Thursdays, dude, at 11. Something I've been doing for a little while, Granddad. What is it? I don't know. This is Rocket Lab's 9th mission of this year. Averaging just over one rocket a month. That's pretty damn good, dude. 51st mission for them overall. Pretty good. One a month is actually really good, except if you compare it to SpaceX. Yeah, once a month is pretty good for any commercial entity, you know. Actually, I'll say any spaceflight entity, once a month is good, and these missions are profitable too, which is actually pretty freaking impressive. Good on Rocket Lab. What sets Rocket Lab apart from other commercial entities? They launch things into space. Yeah. That's it. That's really it, Pop. That's really what it comes down to. Gonna be a dang good day. Tremendous space news discussion yesterday. Well, I'm happy you liked it, dude, because I didn't feel too good about myself reporting that, but you know, as a content creator, people don't want to come in here for bad freaking news, you know, but also I don't know if I should refer to myself as a spaceflight pundit. As a spaceflight pundit, the news is pertinent. It has to be shared. Wild space was crazy. Right on. The ability to leave the pad is a key performance metric. You know, I say that kind of as a joke, 70s, but it really is. Look at any other commercial provider. Rocket Lab and SpaceX are the only ones that launch things. Rocket Lab is actually one that's launching payloads for customers. They're not internal missions. The only external missions that SpaceX has, I say the only ones, like, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. Compared to Falcon 9, Rocket Lab, or compared to SpaceX, Rocket Lab, on paper, it doesn't look like they do much, but dude, 12 launches, averaging 1 launch a month is amazing. That is a Herculean effort. Like, we've been spoiled by SpaceX. They make that look easy. Now, but remember, all of Rocket Lab's missions are revenue-generating missions. Just an interesting thing to take into account. A lot of SpaceX missions are internal. Not that that's bad. Starlink is their revenue stream, so they have another revenue stream. The revenue stream isn't in launching. It's in the service that's provided from the things that Falcon 9 launches. But on top of that, SpaceX has the transporter missions. They have NASA resupply missions, commercial crew missions, and then, you know, every once in a while you get a geostationary satellite or just a commercial mission. But the vast majority of missions are internal. I mean, once again, I'm not trying to take Falcon 9 down a peg or two. But it's just interesting perspective, you know? Rocket Lab, all their missions have been revenue generating, which are actually, that's pretty damn impressive. SpaceX is still launching more than anyone else, ignoring Starlink. That's a good point. Yep. Hey, RT, what's going on? Truth be told, I did leave when the news got sad. Oh, I know, O-Force. I looked at the metrics from yesterday. Yeah. Seems like people don't want to come to here for bad news. Sorry. I felt bad, like... What was the bad news? NASA should change the N in NASA to L. ELSA. Or LASA or something, because they're just taking L after L after L series. Like, it's bad. It's bad. Got some big problems. Let it go. Let it go. Dude, it's awful. ETA to launch. Well, we're looking at a liftoff time at 39 past the hour. We're currently 17 past the hour, so the cast should be going live here momentarily. You got workers and resources. My God, is the game addicting. It's fun, isn't it? What is the news? I missed it. Drummer. There were 2 reports that were released yesterday. One was no, both of them were GAO reports. One was a Senate subcommittee report responding to a GAO report. So I read the 2 GAO reports, and I really wish I didn't. Dude. So the first one was about SLS, right? SLS is a good rocket. It's arguably not the bottleneck anymore in any of the Artemis missions, right? It's actually pretty good. Did great. It's first try, and they're making progress. First GAO had to do with the contract structuring, and basically the contract structuring for the SLS program, how it was set up in the first place, is so convoluted that if you even try to fix it, it's going to delay the entire program by at least a year, trying to untangle the mess of contracts that is the SLS program, which is annoying because we got a rocket that works. That was the first one. The second government accountability report had to do with Gateway and its modules. Gateway, the power and propulsion element, and the Halo element were supposed to launch on Artemis missions. They were supposed to launch on SLS. A little while back, we decided to combine them into one payload, the power and propulsion element and Halo, the 2 core elements of the Gateway. We decided to combine them together and launch them on Falcon Heavy. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. That was a pretty good idea at the time. But that was before we had any landers picked out. The truth of the matter is that there's 2 glaring issues with the power and propulsion element on Gateway and the habitation and logistics outpost on Gateway. Power and propulsion element does not have adequate thrusters to be able to keep the station on an even keel with a 100-ton Starship attached to the side of it. That's the first problem. So it's facing negative mass margin here. It's too heavy for Falcon Heavy to put it and the Halo module into a rectilinear Halo orbit. They have to redesign it for better thrusters to be able to, or come up with another creative solution to have Starship attached to it and have it be controllable. You can't station keep. You can't station keep when Starship is attached. Yep. So there's that. Second one is even worse. The first one I can kind of forgive because, we didn't have a lander picked out. This stuff happens when you're constantly changing your mission architecture. Your mission architecture, frankly, should be something that should be ironed out right at the beginning. You should have a clear and viable pathway to the surface of the moon in this particular case, which we did not have. It was build a rocket that gets us close to the moon and we'll fill in the blanks later. We did that under the guise of fiscal responsibility, which is hilarious to me. Now, the other one is the habitation and logistics outpost is facing negative mass margin as well, meaning it's too heavy because somebody forgot to estimate the wire harness into the module. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Someone forgot to figure the mass of the wiring in. They're about 1,500 pounds too heavy because the wiring was 1,500 pounds extra weight that they didn't figure. That's a glaring red flag. That's not good. That's not like I always screw up some mundane detail. That's a big problem. That is a big problem. I don't know how, and yeah, that's bad. Anyway, let's watch the rocket launch. That was the gist of the space news. Me trying to untangle that mess and figure out what the heck's going on. It was bad. It was bad. It took like 6 hours to figure all that stuff out, but it was bad. Anyway, let's cheer ourselves up with a rocket launch here, shall we? Hey, Nader, what's up, man?
It's nice and early on August the 3rd here in New Zealand, and we're thrilled to be joining you for our 51st mission. What you're looking at right now is a live view of our Electron rocket, ready for launch from Mahia, New Zealand, as the countdown to liftoff continues for our mission partners today, Japanese Earth observation company Synspective. Launch is scheduled this morning for 4:39 a.m. local,
satellite, one of 5.
16:39 UTC. My name is James Rattray.
And I'm Likita Satursala, and we're joining you from Rocket Lab Mission Control in Auckland, New Zealand. Launch operations have run smoothly overnight, with no blockers across the launch vehicle, launch pad, or payload on board. The weather is looking clear, and the team remains on track for an on-time liftoff in about 17 minutes. The payload onboard Electron today is the latest satellite and constellation being built by Synspective,
Note the
a
custom
Japanese
payload
Earth
fairing.
observation company deploying a constellation of synthetic aperture radar or SAR satellites designed to produce images that can show millimeter-level changes to the Earth's surface.
There are some reliefs in that payload fairing. That's a bespoke payload fairing. Their fairings don't usually look like that, meaning this satellite is a little bit different than the other ones. I've never seen those nacelles on the payload, on the PLF before.
Of measurements of that surface.
Rocket Lab has been the sole launch provider for Synspective's constellation to date, and this latest mission continues a lasting and trusted partnership to deploy their Strix constellation to low Earth orbit. Here's more from Synspective.
Glorious Nihon steel. All night long. Unveil the changing world. Boost your decision making. Maritime. Defense and intelligence. Infrastructure. Energy. Defense and intelligence. Infrastructure. Energy. Mining. Forest. Low noise. Large area. Strix. Sliding spotlight. Why are you looking at Sevastopol? That is an extremely odd thing to be looking at. Okay. What the heck? What the heck? What the heck? Why? That was up. That was the Russian Navy base. That was. All right. Okay. That's Guatemala City. SAR, data and solutions. Creating a learning world. New data and technologies. Synspective. Investors, possibly you.
The name for today's mission is Owl for One, One for Owl. A bit of a tongue twister there, which discontinues our streak of naming suspected
Prestige,
missions with an owl
worldwide.
theme. That's because Synspective
Hey,
satellites are named
Go
Strix,
Electron.
which draws from the scientific name for an owl.
Can you explain how your new jet engine in KSP works? Well, that's the Shrubber engine, dude. Honestly, dude, it's a Goliath with a whiplash attached to the back inside of a dragless fairing with a pre-cooler intake on it. We made a dragless fairing to get the whole thing to act as one unit. So the engine is great at low altitude. It can ramjet at high altitude, right? It has a pre-cooler on it, so it can work at really high altitude, and it really does not make a lot of drag. Now, before you say, oh man, really a dragless fairing? Well, dude, that's basically what Symphony Boom is doing with Symphony per what we saw yesterday. They're trying to reduce drag in the engine. They're trying to have the engine reduce its drag profile. So It's not too far off from what's being done in real life. It's just a Kerbalized way of what's being done in real life. That's the Shrubber motor. It's really good. It's a really good engine. Makes no drag.
Coming up next will be the no-go poll
With
for this
Marcel
mission,
Vanes.
run from Mission Control by our launch
Hey,
director,
Martin.
Julia Wimbacher. They will check in with each operator on console for the no-go decision on whether to proceed towards liftoff, based on the status of each system that they're monitoring. We're looking for all goes from our operators to move forward. Let's pull up the audio channel from Mission Control now to listen in.
Land Center or Mission Control? I'll let you be the judge.
To all operators, LDN mission code, we are proceeding now with the go-no-go sequence. Stage.
Stages go.
Avionics.
Avionics is go.
Hey, Milan, what's going on?
GNC.
GNC is go.
Recon.
Beacon is go.
T1.
T1 is go.
GC.
GC is go.
PLS.
PLS is go.
RSO.
RSO is go.
MET.
MET is go.
New camera angle.
MM.
Look at that slow pan.
is go.
And LD sub.
LD SEP is go.
The go-no-go sequence
Electron
is
launch,
complete.
Geraldo.
We are currently T-minus 11 minutes and 21 seconds in counting. We go for the terminal count order sequence at T-minus 10 minutes. From this time, the 3-word hold procedure is in effect.
That man is playing Fortnite. Thought we wouldn't notice, but we did.
There we go. Music to my ears. Our no-go poll is complete.
T-minus
and the
11
team have
minutes.
confirmed that they're ready to continue through to launch for Synspective's mission. Our target liftoff time for this
They are
mission
fucking-
remains
yeah.
set at
As I said, Land
4:39
Center.
a.m. Now just in 10 minutes and 48 seconds.
Today's mission will be our 51st Electron launch and the 5th time we've taken to skies for Synspective, whose first launch on Electron took place way back in December 2020. During that mission, we launched the very first satellite in Strix constellation to low Earth orbit, where it continues till date to provide images of Earth that can be used for urban development planning, construction and infrastructure monitoring, and disaster response. Let's take a look back at all of the Synspective missions we've since launched to date.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Inside of 10 minutes, chat. Yeah, Milan, we're gonna do Flame Trench today in about 4.5 hours. Pre-launch ads. Yeah, that's a good idea. Guys, I hate ads. I'm not going to lie to you, but nothing is going to piss me off. Nothing would piss me off more than clicking on a stream to see a rocket launch and then seeing an ad right away. So I'm going to run ads so the pre-roll ads are disabled during the launch
Discovery,
for the
no
people that
throttle
can't sub. Sorry, if I had it my way, I'd run no ads. I don't want the ad support. I just want your support. You know what I mean? But yeah, we'll do it right now.
That encapsulates Synspective's wide-body satellite on Electron. We'll also be performing an advanced mid-mission maneuver with Electron's
Winterside,
kick stage that will
53
shield the
monthly sub.
Strix
Thank you.
satellite from the sun and help to reduce radiation exposure ahead of payload deployment.
And we have plenty more missions with Synspective to look forward to after recently signing our largest launch agreement to date with them for another 10 launches.
Very nice.
Just a couple of months ago in Tokyo, Japan, our founder and CEO, Sir Peter Beck, met with
Sir Peter
Synspective's
Beck.
founder and CEO to announce the agreement, which
Discovery,
comes
no
on
throttle.
top of 2
Hey, Marco.
other launches for Synspective, one of them today's mission, which had already been booked to launch this year from Launch Complex 1. Now, including the missions we've already completed for the company, that's 16 launches in total that are on the books for Electron and Synspective. With these dedicated launches on Electron, Synspective has control over the launch schedule and the deployment parameters for each satellite, allowing them to build out their constellation on
Apparently
their
they
terms.
don't like him. But, yeah.
And speaking of tailoring things to our customers' needs, you might have noticed the fairing for this mission looks a little different than usual. The bubbles or bumps that you see protruding from the standard fairing are specially designed to accommodate the unique shape and form factor of Synspective satellite. It's not the first time we've tailored an Electron's fairing to meet customers' needs. If you've been watching us closely, you'll occasionally see extra tall ones, extra pointy ones, and on occasion, slightly bubbled ones like this one. Being able to tailor our fairings to mission-specific requirements opens up the range of spacecraft we can fly. Just another way Electron has changed the game dedicated small launch.
Adapting for the fairing for different sats is very Kerbal. That's right. It's pretty cool. Oh, okay. Strong back is retracting. Electron is black because the carbon fiber. They're using a carbon composite structure. So carbon composite fairing, carbon composite stages. Really cool.
Now, a huge part of our business these days is more than just launching satellites. It's in building them and the parts they're made of for our customers all over the world. Most recently, our space systems team hit a really exciting project completion. They've completed the build, testing, and integration for 2 satellites headed to Mars for NASA in just a few short months. These twin spacecraft are part of the Escapade mission to Mars, where they'll measure plasma and the magnetic fields around Mars to help scientists learn more about the planet's climate evolution.
That's the Escapade mission.
We've built these spacecraft for the University of California, Berkeley Space Science Laboratory. So in reference to their college colors, these satellites are named Blue and Gold, or the twins as our teams like to call them internally. Scientific missions to Mars can sometimes take a decade or more to get from idea to reality to launch. But our team's been able to produce Blue and Gold in just 3.5 years. Almost every part of satellites have been built at our sites across the world, including the composite structures and propellant tanks, solar panels, star trackers and reaction wheels, RCS system, and satellite radios to communicate home from Mars. We can't wait to see them arrive to Cape Canaveral for launch vehicle integration in August. The countdown to Mars is on.
That's launching on
While
Newlands.
missions to Mars require deep expertise, sometimes it's not all about rocket science. And for some of our open roles in rocket and satellite production, it's not all about being a rocket scientist either. As we scale up our facilities and take part in bigger missions, we're looking for people to join the team on our factory floors, helping us to supply the satellite industry and build the rockets that'll take them to space. If you have the drive, willingness to learn, and some translatable skills from other industries, then we want to hear from you. All of our new production team members complete our Rocket Lab Academy and are trained on the ins and outs of our vehicles and systems and processes. There's a place in space for you, or at the very least, in our production facilities to help us get there. So check out our website for some of those open roles in production.
Yeah,
today.
pause. I ran the ads.
We're now in the final moments in the countdown to liftoff. Very soon, in T-2 minutes, the rocket's flight computer will take over and run through the final launch preparations and actions. The team
Christian,
will
they're on the
continue
other side of the
loading
world.
Electron with liquid oxygen into its first and second stages.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
At T-1 minute and 30
Hey, Jan,
seconds,
what's up?
when the propellant loading is complete, we should hear a call out from mission control that lock system is in circulation.
Where are they launching from that's dark? This is from the Mahia Peninsula on the northern island in New Zealand. Mahia is a peninsula that points due south, and Rocket Lab is at the very tip of that peninsula, and they use that to launch into polar orbits. Pretty cool. Did they say they're launching something to Mars? They're not launching something to Mars. They made the satellites that are launching to Mars. The Escapade, Blue and Gold, the twins. That's launching on a new glam. Electron is a cool little rocket, guys, because it's the only orbital class rocket that I know of that has electronic fuel injection. Yeah, you heard that right. It's EFI. They have an electric motor that's spinning a pump, a fluid impeller, instead of a turbine actuated fuel system. This is an electric fuel system that the electric motor, the high RPM electric motor, spins a fluid impeller, and that's what provides the commodities into the injector plate for, explosions. There's 9 engines that all have electronic fuel injection, or EFI, in the first stage. There's a single one in the second stage. These engines are Rutherford engines, and they're not very big. They're about this big. They're a little tiny engine. Now, at that scale, right, with a carbon composite structure, right, the weight that's incurred from having to lug batteries into space for these electric motors, you gain that, you basically push because it's so freaking light. There's not a lot of rocket here. There's a lot of propellant, not a lot of rocket. The batteries and the engines are probably the heaviest thing. Hey, Yum Food, 15-month resub. So that makes Electron a kind of very unique rocket in its own regard. You'll see it here in about 120 seconds. This thing will get going for a liquid fuel rocket because the electric motor is instant torque. It'll just turn right on and shoot right off the pad like a firework, minus the explosion part. We don't want that.
All vehicles fully on internal power. AFTS is green, enabled for flight.
Okay, here we go. They've never caught one in the air, Zizep.
System is in recirculation.
They've recovered them from the water, though. Shoot off the pad like a rocket? Yeah. Can I sit in it? I wouldn't.
Anti-geysering is disabled.
All right, here we go. Yeah, of course they dropped the idea of catching it because they're working on a fully reusable rocket instead, Zizep. They're going to work on neutrons, so we kind of haven't heard much in terms of electron reuse. But getting a first stage back for evaluation is big.
Stage 1 and Stage 2 tanks are pressed for flight.
Here we go. 45 seconds.
High flow engine purge enabled.
I don't think the motor needs that much fuel flapping. T-minus 30 seconds. Sound suppression system should... Yep, there they go.
And T-minus 20 seconds and counting.
Oh no, that's the high flow purge out of the motor. See those puffs coming out of the bottom? The water system should be turning on here now.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
There it is. There it is.
3, 2,
Ignition.
1.
Bye-bye.
Liftoff.
Owl for one for owl. Flying into the Mahia sky.
Beginning the jump.
Stage 1 propulsion nominal.
Our 51st Electron rocket is soaring off the pad and on its way to space.
Fly,
Force
baby, fly.
Inspective. Electron is quickly coming up on its first mission milestone to pass through the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure against the rocket, otherwise called out as Max Q from Mission Control. We'll listen out for that now.
Why do they use water? They spray water on the pad to keep the pad cool, Clayton, and to prevent sound reverberations off the ground. Rockets are so loud, the sound can reverb off the ground when the rocket is launching, and that can cause vibrations that'll shake the whole thing apart.
HVB discharge
So
nominal.
there's two reasons why. To keep the pad in one piece, because water's good at
That
absorbing
was
all
the
the
call
heat.
we were waiting for. Electron has cleared Max Q.
The pad is, they spray the pad down with water to absorb the heat so they don't melt the pad with the rocket engines, but it's also there to prevent reverberation. Like I said, dude, you ever like you ever been in like an alleyway and yelled and you hear echo, 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 echo? It bounces off the walls. The rocket sound can reverb off the ground during the initial phases of flight, and that reverberation can cause a compounding vibration that can just rip things apart.
Electron separates and falls away from Electron's second stage. Soon after that, the Rutherford engine on the second stage lights up and the mission continues, with the third event called out across
remnant.
mission control comms
That's
as
right.
second stage ignition. We'll be able to watch those actions in real time from the
I think it was
rocket's
just a
onboard
reflection,
camera
Tozer.
and hear the call-out from mission control, which should be coming in shortly.
30 seconds.
Those sparks flying off there are totally normal. That's just a byproduct of using a Carolox engine. And we're done. Can we go
15
back and watch the
seconds
ice
to save
shake off the side? That was cool. Yeah, maybe.
Entered burnout detect mode.
Okay. Should be... Should be getting up to staging here.
Miko confirmed.
There's main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
Whoa, careful.
Stage 2 ignition confirmed.
That was a sketchy staging, dudes.
There we have it, a successful Miko stage separation and second stage engine ignition for Electron and Spectre.
Yo, that almost crashed. That was real close to being real bad. The rocket encountered a yaw rate there during staging. You see it start to move, and it separated the stage, and the stage got shot out, and then the engine turned on, and it had to correct big time. That was really close to being bad. Like, real close to being bad. Whoa. Fairing separation.
Fairing jettison succeeded.
You saw it there yourself and heard it from mission control. Electron's fairing has separated, and we have a nice clear view.
That
Spectre's satellite in space.
was a little sus. What caused it? I don't know. I'd have to go look at that again, Chief. That, now I'm curious to see if that's not some kind of compounding failure.
Guidance is nominal.
Tony. I don't think this is going to the station, but the customers for this mission just had a pucker moment. They were like, "Oh, yeah." That was definitely a pucker moment. That was close. That was really close to being bad. So I'm gonna use this brake cleaner. The whole rocket after staging went like this. It started to turn for whatever reason.
Now, Lakita, you're the structural
And right before it
analyst for
turned
this
too
mission.
far,
Can
they
you,
separated
tell us a
it,
little
so it
bit
looked
about
like the
what's
stage
required
was
for
flipping
launching
away.
into orbit?
That was bad. That was real
Sure.
bad.
So, in short, our team works on ensuring that
Pucker
the rocket
factor,
can survive
extremely
the harsh
high.
launch loads. For example, the new custom fairing that we talked about before.
I don't think there's any RCS after main engine cutoff, Pezzo. I don't think the reaction control systems were activated.
Flight, like at max Q. And all the components on the vehicle
we saw a
also need to
third-person
be
view of
tested
that?
to
Yeah,
these loads.
shit.
So our job is to define these loads and
Here.
analyze the strength of the vehicle.
I have a
and components
nitrous
within
can,
to make sure
and I have a can
they
of
can
brake
handle them.
clean. Okay, it's wasp repellent. All right, so the thing hit main engine cutoff like this, right? And then for whatever reason, at main engine cutoff, it encountered a yaw rate. It started to do this, and they popped the stage, and the stage went like that. And then it fired and kept going. Like, there was definitely a rate imparted on the vehicle, so on the yaw axis. So, you know, she was going, right? And then she started doing this at main engine cutoff, and then they got rid of the stage, and the stage turned around. It basically was starting to rotate this way. It fired the engine and turned back. Yes. Can of nitrous and brake clean.
We're coming up now on the battery hot
That's what I
swap
do
for
in
the
my spare
second
time.
stage Rutherford engine. This occurs when the engine switches over to a new set of batteries to power its electric
Slosh
pumps
dynamics.
once the first pair are
Yeah,
almost out
maybe
of
Rocket
energy.
Guy. That was close.
Once
Are
the
you going to be
swap
on
is
Flame
made,
Trench? Yes.
The old batteries fall away from Electron, and sometimes we can see these shiny silver packs on the screen as they fall.
It could be
So
prop
let's keep
slosh.
our eyes on the screen and listen in for the call that battery hot swap has occurred.
It could be out of sequence engine shutdown. It could be residual thrust, guys. There's a lot of different things that could cause that. Just because during main engine cutoff and stage separations, there's a lot of things happening. There's a lot of variables in that matrice of actions, I guess. That it's hard to say what that could be. That's like, it's not like what happened with the
Hot swap successful.
there's the hot swap,
Battery jettison confirmed.
jettisoning the dead batteries. Yeah.
That
Staging
was the
batteries
call that
instead of-
battery hot
instead of
swap
fuel
is
tanks.
confirmed. For those of you who have seen a few of our mission broadcasts.
There's a bunch of different things that could have been, but it looks like the second stage is working fine here, but that
into the system and improve it.
I'm fairly confident that was a little bit out of family, but they dodged a bullet there.
To propulsion holding nominal.
Like that was real close to not being good. That is one hot nozzle. Yeah, they're using a nozzle that glows. When the nozzle glows like this, it is actually radiating heat out. Glowing is actually how it's cooling itself. Believe it or not, it's using blackbody radiation. That's how the upper stage engines stay cool, or at least nozzle extensions like this one stay nice and cool. Yeah, the glowing is actually the cooling system. Yeah, notice how this isn't glowing. See what I'm talking about? Different metals.
Accelerating.
What type of alloy is that nozzle? If I had to guess, it's probably niobium carbide. If I had to guess. All the pops that you see out of the engine are totally normal. That's just part and parcel with Caroloc's engine design. You get some unburnt crap coming out the back. But what you trade for inefficiency, you know, a lot of unburnt crap coming out the back, you gain in energy, right? So the easy way to say that is that Caroloc's engine, so RP1 liquid oxygen engines aren't the most efficient, but they have a very energetic reaction. You get a lot of power out of it.
Cutoff of its Rutherford engine, called out as SECO, which is then
Those are just
followed by
combustion
Electron's
byproducts, guys.
kickstage separating
That's
off to
normal. That
suspect its
happens.
payload. Call-outs from the operators in mission control should be heard shortly, so let's listen in.
I'm not sure, Hellfish. I think that's what it is. It's just a guess. Rolling coal. Yeah, Christian. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Same exact thing. A diesel engine will run fuel rich for cooling purposes and to make more power. You get all the oxygen that gets
confirmed.
all the oxygen that gets jammed into a diesel motor from the turbo. You know, you spray tons of fuel in there,
And
it'll
there
make a
we
lot
have
of power.
SECO confirmed by what you see on your screen and from the operator
Good.
call out in mission control.
That guy's hair game is
The
on
kick
point.
stage with
might I
Inspector's
add.
payload has also successfully separated and
Righteous
is now
haircut,
entering
man.
what we call a coast phase.
Here we go.
With the kick stage released into an elliptical orbit around Earth, it needs to complete a half lap of Earth before it can be propelled onto a circular path by the kick stage's Curie engine. Once in place on a circular Earth orbit, the kick stage will be ready to release
more like
Inspector to its
more like
destination in
100,000,
space amongst its constellation.
From Earth to orbit in 9 minutes and 7 seconds. Not bad, really, is it? We'll take a bit of a break on the webcast while that first half lap is completed, but we'll be back with you to take you through payload deployment and the end of the mission in about 45 minutes. So we'll see you back here soon.
I wonder why that dude's doing the cast. I wonder where Mariel is. You didn't listen to what I said, Guy. That's why people roll coal with trucks. Diesel engine when it's operating normally. Yes. When do you think IFT5 will take place, Remnant? Probably late like the 4th week of this month, most likely. Really depends on what we see, you know? Like, I'll load up Starbase Live here and, you know, we'll go peeping. We'll go peeping, see what's good, dude. Nothing at the launch site yet, so we're still a good ways out, at least 3 weeks, I'd say. Main engine cutoff replay? Oh yeah, let's check it, dudes. Yeah, dude, that was like, I'm not gonna lie, that's some. I noticed some things. And keep in mind, like I said, we've been in kind of a drought for launches. I've noticed some interesting perturbations with Electron's first stage here. Maybe there's some clues there. Like, see how that's relatively uniform, but you're seeing the flames kind of curve. That could be due to a radial out component because of the trajectory needed for this payload. Meaning that if the ground is right here, and here's the nitroscan, the ground is right here and the rocket is, you know, trying to circularize parallel, right? The first stage is kind of tilted up and it's kind of flying like this. The reason why you do that is to get the most amount of altitude that you can out of your first stage's characteristic energy. basically they're trying to push it up higher so the second stage can get to where it needs to go. But like I said, you're trading delta V for doing that. I mean, but when you're not, right? So I've
That's
noticed
from Mission Control.
I noticed some interesting things here. Now, don't get me wrong, there's splatters here. The splatter and the sparks, once again, that's normal. That is totally supposed to happen. That's just inherent to using kerosene and liquid oxygen. You're going to get some combustion byproducts. So the sparks are okay. What I'm talking about is the actual shape. See how this kind of looks like a castle nut right here? Or a castle turret? Watch. It does something very strange here as it approaches staging. Now, keep in mind, the gases do expand as you get higher up in the atmosphere. Okay, so you get higher up there, right? There's not as much ambient air pressure in space. There's actually, it's a minuscule amount of pressure, believe it or not. There is still air up there, but it's not enough to, I mean, you can't, it wouldn't take your helmet off when you're up there, you know what I mean? So up here, we're almost 60 kilometers up, right? So you're gonna get the plume expanding like this, but it changes shape, which is very strange to me. I agree, Vasya. Yeah. So see right here? See this? What's that? What's going on here? That, see these little guys in between the plumes from each rocket? This would be indicative of the center engine. There's 8 engines on Electron around the outside and 1 in the center. The reason why these plumes are kind of being shot out to the side is because the center engine plume is expanding and it's pushing the plumes of the radial mounted engines out to the side because of the lack of pressure. But see this? Something, look at that. Something that's, I don't really ever remember seeing that. That's very strange. I don't remember in recent memory Electrons doing that. Now, don't get me wrong. I probably watched so many rocket launches I didn't pay it any mind. But something, I've never seen it do that. You're getting some very interesting flow phenomenon here. See how it doesn't look like a castle anymore, but it looks like hexagons almost? I've never seen it do that. I'd be curious to go and look at other Electrons to see if it's done that before. Now, don't get me wrong. Is that indicative that something is going wrong? No, not necessarily. They could be doing a new trajectory, which explains... They could be flying on like a different trajectory, which would explain the staging and everything. But... This could also be indicative of something going wrong here. Like, seriously, look at those plumes. They're perfect hexagons. That's weird, man. Last launch did something similar, it looks like. Okay, so this is just some type of engine optimization that they're doing. Because I think I would have remembered hexagons like that. Right? I mean, it's beautiful. It looks great. Rocket Guy, I'm wondering what this flow phenomenon is here. Because that's clearly an outer engine. That's an outer engine. That's an outer engine. What are these little guys in the center here? Just, once again, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong here. I'm just curious. I just genuinely want to know. I've never seen that before. Like, look, they're perfect. The plume interaction between the engine is creating like straight angles in the flow. That's really cool, actually. I think that's really neat. Okay, so there's main engine cutoff. Let me just watch it real quick. So what you're seeing here, oh. Okay, you had a little bit of a burp there. That's, believe it or not, that doesn't look good, but that's actually okay. I've never seen I said firework. Oops. You do get some residual combustion in your engines. That just happens because there's inherently propellant in the lines. Think about it like plumbing, right? So like if you ever used the garden hose before, right? You turn the garden hose on, right? And the sprinkler starts doing its thing, right? If you shut the hose off, you undo the sprinkler, and then you go to wind up the garden hose, you're getting soaked from all the residual water that's in the line, right? Unless you have a way to purge it out. Now, they usually do purge it out, but sometimes that residual propellant can hit your hot rocket exhaust, or the hot rocket nozzle, right? Hot nozzle summer. You can hit it, right? And it will cause an auto combustion. I think that's what's going on there. Rocket Guy, I don't ever remember that happening like that. That was That was a lot of extra propellant. And what this can do is basically the rocket engine burps during shutdown. It's like, I'm good. Give me a Barrett patch. Give me a Barrett patch now. Anyway, sorry. So that does happen during shutdown, but I've never seen it like that before. Normal stage separation from point of view. Yeah, I'd be curious to compare it. There was a very interesting shutdown sequence there. I think most likely that's what caused that. Well, even with the purge, that appears to be mostly soot expulsion, which I honestly haven't seen that bad before. Yeah, maybe they were adjusting the mixture on these engines, Rocket Guy, for the trajectory. Dude, I'm throwing stuff at the wall. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and guess whatever that spark was, because we haven't seen it before, is what caused this. That's still so freaking cool, dude. Yeah, they're stage separators. Quite literally a bunch of springs. See? You'd be surprised how simple stage separators are, guys. They're usually just a spring on a nut, and the nut separates and the spring decompresses and shoots it away. That's it. That's usually it. That's how it's done on like expendable vehicles and vehicles that are designed to be simple. Oh look, P-clamps. Hell yeah, P-clamps. See? 2, 3, 4. P-clamps. Those things. Remember those things from the conversation the other day? P-clamps. The more you know. Now, anyway, let's just scrub through this real quick. I actually, you know what? I kind of want to see it in real time again. Ball peen clamps. Now, once again, I don't think anything went particularly... I don't think particularly anything's going wrong with the mission. Something came off right there. Hold up. I saw it right over here. Something came off. That doesn't look like ice, but it could be ice. It doesn't look like it, but it could be. Something came off the vehicle. Yeah, they didn't need that, I guess. Might be the sticker it usually peels off. Yeah, maybe? Go back a bit more. What do you mean? Goalie, I don't really understand the flow phenomenon that's going here comparatively to past Electron launches, so I really can't commentate on it other than it looks really freaking cool, dude. It looks like a crown. The stage is ablative. Yes. I just want to see Miko again. Oh, jeez. Yeah, the more I look at that, the more I don't like it. I am Burp Man. Oh. Yeah. So, that's the residual propellants that I'm talking about. They blow up, but they immediately get snuffed out by the purge. So what happens is rocket engines to make sure that this doesn't happen, they shoot helium gas through the plumbing on the rocket engines to inert the thing. There are multiple reasons why you do this. The biggest one is to make sure that doesn't happen. But as we move towards an era of reusability, it's a good idea to purge out your rocket engine that has liquid oxygen in it. The reason why, I don't really have a better way of putting this. Liquid oxygen oxidizes things. It reacts with metals and oxidizes them. You don't need your rocket engine rusting from the inside out. That would be bad. If you want to reuse it, that would be very bad. So the helium purging has found other uses other than just to make sure you don't pop the engine right when you shut it off. Yeah, that's your pro tip for the day. Oxygen oxidizes. Thank you, EJ. What a magic, Brits? Are you telling me the laws of physics cease to exist on your stove? What a magic, Grits? I mean, are we to believe that the guy that sold you your grits is the same guy that sold Jack his beanstalk beans? I got no more use for this guy. Anyway, moving on. I do see some green residual there, Rocket Guy. Just on a side note. Could be ice. Look at the daytime perspective. Most likely ice, Phil. Yeah, from comparatively to the other footage. No, it is a trick question. Because the 327 didn't come out in 55. The 327 didn't come out until 64. However, in 1955, the correct timing would be 10 degrees BTDC. I love that movie, Joe. You know why I love that movie? Because all that information is exactly right. Somebody on that production really knew what they were talking about with cars. Hell yeah. Can't make those marks without positive traction, which was not available on the 63 Buick Skylark. Yeah, Anesthesis, there's that good. Yeah, she's cute too, huh? Yeah, very. Anyway, let's go back to our analysis. Shutdown compared to a previous launch. Cool. Yeah, thank you, Rocket Guy. Thank you, Master Tank. All right, so this is a previous mission here. Let's see what that shutdown looks like. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's, that is not great. Not great, Bob. I'm going to double box it. Give me 1 second. Okay, so let's side by side this. Who screwed up the green screen? Seriously, guys, this is why we can't have nice things. All right, so let me sync these up. So 224 on the left, we need... Yep. Yep. So they burned a little bit longer on this mission. That piece comes off. Yeah. Dude, that is not good. Whoa, that's real close, man. That's real close to being very bad. Guys, I mean, Rocket Guy, you tell me if I'm wrong here. I'm pretty sure residual propellant caused the engine to burp, which induced a yaw rate and made the thing spin. The guidance system corrected for it, thank God. So this little spark that you see, or I said little, this, right? See that right there? That, clearly on one side, one of the engines burped. And because all the other engines shut off and one burped outside of, on the longitudinal axis of the vehicle, it started to roll, or started to yaw in one direction. They said on the webcast that they squeezed more performance from the first stage, or they squeezed something from the first stage. So, guys, what the vehicle's doing right now is that because it popped on one side, right, that the engine burped, it started doing this. Thankfully, the stage separated before it turned in the wrong direction. So what you see here happening right now is the yaw, that yaw rate. Oh, jeez. And look at the compensation that it needed. Yikes. What do you mean burp? Clayton, when you shut a rocket engine off, sometimes there's residual propellants in the lines. And if those lines contact the hot nozzle, because the rocket engine was just on, it auto combusts. It diesels a little bit. I call it a burp. I don't know what it's called in the industry. Residual combustion, I think is what it's called. Yeah, I was like, at first, when I first saw this, I'm like, wow, are they flipping the stage like SpaceX? They gonna try to recover this? And then I saw this shot, and I'm like, no, that's not normal. No, that's not normal. It backfires. Yeah, pretty much, O10. That would be the way to say that. Yeah, it backfires. It'll backfire, just like an old carbureted car when your ignition timing is wrong. Start it up, pops out the top. Rocket engines will do that too. Actually, a carburetor backfire and the burp that the rocket engine is pretty much the same thing. It is a backfire. Yeah, old cars can do that. Old cars do that if the ignition timing is incorrect. Now, that has nothing to do with rockets. It backfires for a completely different reason. This is residual propellant in the line. Basically, the rocket engine is still flooded, and because it's hot, it auto-combusts. Chad, there's fuel in the exhaust. Yeah, some cars induce this backfiring as a way to accelerate exhaust gases away from the car faster. Two-step is what it's called. The reason why you'd want to accelerate gas out of the engine faster is to spin a turbo. Yeah, so you can spool your turbine. You basically throttle up your turbocharger and then turn the engine on. You know, that's like what dragsters do. So you get the anti-lag, the pop 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 pop. So if you see some bozo driving around on the street making poppy noises, he just wants to let everybody know he has a turbo. It's kind of lame. I know, car guy things. I think it's kind of cool. I like explosions. Sorry. I also never noticed the tanks on the camera on the second stage. Those are ullage tanks, dude. And RCS. Those are composite overwrap pressure vessels, or COPVs for short. The industry term for them would be a bottle. Those are bottles. Those are ullage bottles. Yeah, they look like nitrous tanks. Actually, those things are closer. Is anybody here a firefighter? I'm serious. Like, anybody here a firefighter? You know, the oxygen packs that you have to carry, that you reload in the machine? Same thing. Where do you think they got the idea? They got the idea from NASA. If you guys really want to know, NASA was the one, actually Rockwell, if we want to be really technical, they were the first. Rockwell on the space shuttle was the first, in collaboration with NASA, was the first company to figure out a composite overwrap pressure vessel. The shuttle was the first to fly with them. The life support systems on the shuttle, the ECLIS, are using COPVs. Now, we see a lot of carbon fiber here in the future, and that's cool. But the shuttle was doing that in the 70s. Think about that for a second. Think about just how absolutely insane that actually is to have a composite overwrap pressure vessel in the late 70s. That's pretty cutting edge for the time. Not so much anymore. Every launch vehicle has COPVs nowadays. So what is that? What are these things? So it's a tank that holds gases at high pressure. Okay? You can see they have strands on them. The reason why is because you need to hold these things at really high pressure. You need to get a lot of gas in a very small area. The problem is, if you have a regular, like a propane tank or something, you're going to overpressurize it and then it'll just fail. What this is a very thin titanium metal tank, right? For pretty good structure. And then they wrapped it in carbon fiber. Same idea as like a Chinese finger trap, right? Because the gases are pushing out, the strands actually get stronger. That's what all those strands are right there. So the end result is that you have an extremely lightweight tank. Like, dude, I could pick this thing up with one hand. That bottle's about this big. I could pick it up with one hand and throw it like a baseball, right? The end result is a tank that can hold gases at insanely high pressure. We're talking like 10,000 PSI here. Divide that by 14 and that'll get you your bar. Actually 15 if you really want to be technical. Throw it! Do it! Oh, I could throw it, man. I'll do it. I'll throw it. I mean, yeah, COPVs are not very thick. They're not like aluminum can thin, but they're close. 689 bar. Yeah, it's actually insane. Yeah, those T-Man, those COPVs, those have been there. Rocket Lab really started putting those in there when they started to, I mean, you could see they've always had that one down there, but these ones here are for the reaction control systems on that first stage to try and steer it down for landing. They've since had them there on most launches, and I've noticed they added more, but I don't know. It depends on what they're trying to do. The actually cool thing here is that you get a really good shot of the battery on the second stage and all of its accoutrement. What the heck is that? But yeah, what these tanks are normally designed to do is what, like I say normally, what kind of the garden variety thing that those tanks are supposed to do on a rocket is provide what's called tank ullage. So I have a bottle, right? It doesn't have anything in it right now. It just has a little bit of water. Most of what's in here is atmosphere, right? So if I filled this thing up with water, pour water into it, what happens? It fills up with water, right? Okay, so what? It fills up with water, right? If I just had a water line in and we had no top to it, right? And we went to fill it up, it would start compressing the gas inside because there's no way for the gas to go. So we would need a vent, right? That's why we could just fill it up with the whole rim open like this, right? Now, picture you're in space. You have this, you need to get propellant out of it, right? And you need to substitute something in place of that propellant, or else your tank feed line rates are not going to be good, right? You need to be flowing propellant at a constant rate into the rocket engines, or else they don't work, right? So what you need, Bree's here. Bree's back from London. So you have to pump the gas in to get the propellants to squeeze into the engines. I mean, the engines will pull it, but you have to give it some head pressure to go. That's what tank ullage is for. Oh, Titan's super happy to see Bree. Hi, Taito.
Hello.
How you doing?
How are you?
Did you see the kitchen?
I did. I got a donut and everything.
Yeah, all right.
I love you.
Love you too. Good to be home. You smell like England. Jeez.
Oh shoot! I left your stuff in the house.
I'll grab it in a second. We're checking to see how Rocket Lab almost had a pucker moment.
He figured out how his bed works.
Yeah, he did.
Did that just happen today, or has he had it?
No, he's been doing that
Oh.
before he ripped it to shreds and I had to restuff the dang thing. You smell like tea and disappointment.
Tea and disappointment. How's the jet lag? I need nap.
Well, take the boy and go take a nap.
You want your gifts?
I'll grab him in a second.
Okay. Hey, buddy, you want to go nap together? You want to go
Titan
nap?
very much wants to. His leash is over on my toolbox.
Does Titan want to? Or
Go with
does
Mama.
DJ want-
All I'm gonna say is I love. So first and foremost, okay, I love that dog. All right, I love him. He's my boy.
Yeah.
I love that dog. He doesn't need to be here for 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
He when he decides he wants to sing, it's a little bit distracting. A little bit.
You're a little distracting, boyo.
Yeah, let me just say, it's hard to keep a conversation about combustion instability and the application of liquid fuel rocket engines when the dog is barking in your ear constantly.
Yep.
Yeah, that gets to be a little bit much.
Yep.
But other than that, yeah, he's been pretty good. Because I start Space News at 5, and that's right when he expects playtime. So that was a little bit of a challenge.
Buddy.
So, yeah. Guys, Titan won't be with me all the time. He might drop in from time to time, but yeah.
Yeah, we were trying. So, Chad, the reason Titan's been around is because, first of all, I was trying to get him used to being in here so that when I did this week-long trip, he was okay with being in here. So, now a week-long trip is over. Titan doesn't have to come out here all the time.
Yep. But he did end up liking it in here.
Yay!
But,
I'm so glad my pupper,
Discovery,
my
no
husband, and my
throttle.
pupper.
You just call me your dog.
No, I said my husband. And my pupper. I didn't. Is that the old, what camera are you using? Did you get the other one?
Yeah, that's all figured out. Windows updated my computer again, and I plugged it back into the motherboard, and now it works.
That's right.
Thanks, Windows.
Very cool.
Very cool.
I'm gonna get your leash and we'll go inside where it's nice and cool.
I'm her pupsend. Okay.
No, you know what you said? Oh. Sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. I love you.
So the backyard leash is in the garage. If you want to open the garage and put him to it, he'll go out.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've been doing.
Oh, okay, that works. No, what happened there was me going, my pupper! Oh, I'm gonna sound bad if I'm not as excited to see my husband. My husband! That's why.
Oh, I know what happened. I'm just giving you crap for it.
Okay, that's fair. I just wanted to be perfectly clear.
If it was an actual problem, I probably wouldn't have mentioned it on stream.
Okay. Alright. Where's the one lid you can walk to the house?
It's on my toolbox. It's the orange leash.
Okay.
He has been walked today for about an hour. I let him go all around in the bushes. He's gone number 1 and number 2. He'll probably need to go number 2 again in probably like about 5 to 6 hours.
Okay. Cool.
I will come down and see you in the intermission going up to the flame trench.
Oh, yeah.
Kaito, go with Mama.
The door on my nose. Now I'm confused. 1 second, let Mama get your lead.
He can just walk in the shop. It's fine. He knows.
Oh,
Go with
okay.
Mama,
Come on,
dude.
buddy. Love you, dude.
Love you. Welcome home. We don't talk about number 3. That's right. Do you think the first stage broke up due to the flip? Or do you think it's fine? I don't think it exists anymore at 38 minutes and 45 seconds into the mission. I'm pretty sure it hit the water. I think in terms of like separation, dude, the stage looked okay, if not a little bit burnt. But you got to remember, this probably is less damage than what you'd see from any other stage because the rocket engine, when the rocket engine fired, the stage wasn't directly behind it. So I'll bet you it's a little bit. Oh my God. Holy crap, dude. The more I look at that, the more I think that it yawed 90 degrees. Because look at how the first stage passes on this camera over here. Dude. That is nuts. Like, the first stage passes like this. It passes left to right. Holy crap. That is a number 3 moment, Dax, for sure. Watch. Whoa! Man! Whoa! That... Wow. Yeah, that was a hell of a correction, Gaw. Holy heck. Good guidance system. Wow. Could that have imparted some yaw on the second stage? Well, a yaw on the first stage like that at main engine cutoff is going to impart rotational force on the second stage. Yaw the entire vehicle and then a stage separation is going to make spinning. So once again, just pretend that this brake clean right here, not sponsored by NAS or O'Reilly's, by the way, is the second stage. So first stage flames out, starts to do this. Second stage separates, starts to spin. It fires and does that. That's what we saw. The second stage was over here. It fired its engine, came around and went that way. Like this. That's actually nuts. That was a Kerbal stage, dude. Hey, Night Viper. We should be getting reacquisition of signal here momentarily. Once again, that's a testament to whoever's doing the guidance, navigation, and control for this mission. What do you mean with a number 3 moment? It's a joke that we just made because I told Bree that Titan did number 1 and number 2, so you don't need to take him out. for a little while, and chat said, "What about number 3?" And then somebody else said that staging was a number 3 moment. It was a joke. I feel bad that I had to explain it, W, but I also like you, so that's why I explained it. So your understanding, you have paid for your understanding with cringe. Okay. Thinking this would be propellant slosh dynamics due to failure of the first stage to stabilize before main engine cutoff. You can clearly see right up to the point of main engine cutoff, the plume looking to fluctuate, likely due to the gimbal of the engines. That would leave propellant in a dynamic state and unsettled for the sudden loss of acceleration. That's just some US slang. Oh, number 1 and number 2 is US slang for going pee and going poop. Is it number 1 or number 2? I just want to know how much time I have. It did a Kerbal. It really did, Cheese. That was pretty close. What have I missed? Been out of the loop a week due to a brown recluse bite. Oh. NASA should rename itself from the National Aeronautics and Space Agency to the Loser Aeronautics and Space Agency because they keep taking L's pretty bad. Oh, you're back.
Hi, I am back because I did say they were for you, but they're also kind of half for chat. So.
The gifts?
Yeah. So pick a hand.
Left. Oh. You get this at the duty free?
Yeah, kind of.
Got that at the duty free on the airport because you forgot to get me a present when you were in London?
You can.
Too real? I'm just kidding. I love it. I love Toblerone.
What else would you have wanted from London?
I don't know.
Okay.
Hog? Some Jaffas. Oi! Oi, look, mates! We brought you some Jaffas! What? Right.
Because I remember we got them here, and chat was like, "No, they're not the right one."
Well, this is the original. You
Yeah,
can tell
that
it's the original because it says it on the bottom.
Yeah.
Got Jaffas.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So that's what I got you.
Each cake contains 173 kilojoules of energy. That's pretty neat.
I also got some shortbread cookies, but those are mostly for me too. So.
You bought presents for yourself?
What do you? Okay.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You can just go F right off.
What about Big Ben? Bro. Big Ben belongs in the harbor. Okay? Belongs in the harbor.
Welcome back, Bree.
Love you too.
That's all.
What'd you say?
That's all I got you.
This is fine, babe. Thank you very much.
I got a mug and I got some national theater.
You bought yourself a mug, but not me?
It's a community mug. You're the one who only uses that Ford mug. You could use any of the mugs we have in the house.
What kind of car do you drive?
Ford.
What kind of car do I drive?
Ford.
Makes sense.
I'm just saying, when I buy a mug, it's for community use.
Ernox says we have enough mugs. I am inclined to agree with him.
Listen.
May, all the cars that I buy are for community use.
It doesn't. Crap. I'm on like 4 hours of sleep. You cannot do this. Is not fair. Go back to the dog.
I love you. Yep, baby. All right. Okay. I got Jaffa cakes. I think she just hit the noise gate harder than Titans yesterday. Sleeping with the dog tonight? So how does that change what I've been doing for the past week? Community use. Yeah, the car's a community use. That's true, actually. You're growing your carbon footprint to make the Netherlands sink. Gotta give you that. Spoken like a true German, Forge. Wunderbar. Good for you. Good for dir. That's probably not how you say that, but you still understood what I was saying. So Michael Sheets is agreeing with Berger on Starliner. Good for dich. For dich? Good for dick. Nope, that's not how you say that at all. It would be für dich. Yeah? What did you say about me? Yeah! Wunderbar! Alright. Perfection. What's going on with Stuckliner? I don't know, dudes. Just ignore Burger, better for your mental health. Dude, I don't mind what Eric's saying. There might be, like, here's the thing. Here's always been my thing about that dude. I don't mind him. Like, he's reporting what he hears, and that's fine. That's okay for a journalist, but you know, like, here's my beef. They're all unknown sources. So how do we know you're not just making things up? You know what I mean? Like, we're never gonna know. You could just make something up, and like, dude, this is rocket science, man. You can't just make stuff up. I'm like, once again, Eric, he does report on the news, and like I said, he, you know, you're journalists, you gotta have a scoop. I get it, but sometimes, man, like, you know, he said that, oh, I don't think Starliner's getting home based off of some untold sources, and now everybody's saying the same thing. How do we know these guys aren't just making it up for a story? Like, how do we know? That's my thing. Whenever I report you guys news, it's always from a GAO report or from an investigator general. I always go to a primary source. I never say sources say, right? What I do instead is give my opinion on what's going on, and I make sure explicitly to state that it's what I think, not what's going on. Because I'm, at the end of the day, guys, I'm here to learn, just as you guys are too. I want to learn. I want to learn about this stuff. Like, I don't want to sit here and speculate. And if I do speculate, I make sure to tell you that I'm speculating, and then I cross-check what actually happens with what I said, and I'll tell you if we were right or wrong. But I don't use that to try and get clicks or anything, right? I use that as an opportunity for us to all learn. You know, that's what I do. You know, I'm not really a fan of the sources say, oh, well, a source told me this. Okay. Hi, I'm German, and that sounded okay. Danke schön, mein Freund. Ah. Bitte. Good. So, yeah, like, if Eric's saying it, like, I guess, I mean, Mike Sheets is saying it, how do we know you guys aren't making this up? Like, I'm sorry, like, I'm not gonna report something just because I heard it from a guy who heard it from a guy, even if it is true. Like, I think that goes against the teaching environment that I'm trying to promote here. But I mean, whatever, to which their own. Hey, Razzie, what's going on, dude? Sparrow had a 66-month resub. Ordon with a 54 before that. Squish Chin, what's going on, buddy? 73 months. That was during the launch, though. And Pythos hit us with the raid. Don't hate the player, hate the game. Making it really hard, Fish. Sorry. What jet do you think is prettier, the F-15C or the F-16XL? Prettier, just from a straight aesthetics look? 16XL all day. That is one of the coolest looking planes ever. That's the fighter plane that we were promised in the future in the 90s. Now what we got is the F-22, and I'm not saying the F-22 looks bad, but dude, if you guys haven't seen the F-16XL, it's the F-16 with a delta wing. it is pretty freaking cool. That is a pretty cool looking plane. Like, you saw cartoons and comic books and stuff back in the day, and you saw jets, and it was all stuff like this, like jets 20 years into the future. It was all stuff like that, and stuff like the X-29, right? Just crazy, ridiculous 80s-ness in aerospace, right? Don't get me wrong, the F-15C is a looker. I mean, all these planes are beautiful. Personally, I'm partial to the F-22, but I think the plane that takes the all-time cake for aesthetics is the F-4. The Phantom is... It doesn't do a lot of things very well, but A, it goes really freaking fast, and B, it is one of the coolest looking planes ever. But you gotta remember, all these tilted control surfaces stuff, like tilted up, you know, the slats tilted down like that, you know, the anhedral horizontal stabilizers, all that is there to make up for the fact that the thing is about as aerodynamic as a steam engine. The only reason this thing got up to Mach 2 is because they brute forced it with two J79s with afterburners. It brute forces its way to Mach 2. It's not very aerodynamic, dude. I think it doesn't get prettier than that plane. But cool question, Dax. Anyway, we're that is that one right there. That's that. Let's get back over to the mission. We're currently 53 minutes into the Rocket Lab Owl for One for Owl launch. I did notice a weird thing during staging, guys. A little funny during staging. We should be getting up here on the Curie burn momentarily, but just in case
we have it a success.
Just in case you missed it, watch this. So at main engine cutoff, guys, this is a replay. At Miko, oh, there was a big spark right there, and then watch this.
Confirmed.
Whoa.
Stage 2 ignition confirmed.
Okay.
There we have it, a success.
The pucker moment. Pucker moment. What about a Harrier? I think the engineering behind the Harrier is amazing. It's a pretty looking plane, but the technology behind how engineering behind the Harrier is amazing. It's a pretty looking plane, but the technology behind how a Harrier can actually lift off vertically is frankly insane. I like the B-1B for similar reasons. Oh, the bone. So cool. Axiom 4 crew mission confirmed. Peggy Whitson, Shubhansu Shulka, Slawals Uzansky, and Tibor Kapu. You're telling me... Wait, Slawals Uznansky. You're telling me Polen can into space? Slawaz. Yeah, gee, Ando, I wonder where he's from.
Hello and welcome back to the webcast of Rocket Lab's 51st Electron launch, a dedicated mission for Japanese Earth imaging company Synspective. Less than an hour ago, Electron launched off the pad at Launch Complex 1 in New Zealand at 4:39 a.m. local time. From there, the rocket has made its way cleanly through the usual launch milestones like max Q, first stage main engine cutoff, state separation and ignition on second stage engine, followed by SECO and state separation again, but between Electron's second stage and the kick stage that's carrying the Strix payload.
That kick stage was released to space on an elliptical trajectory, and it needs to be on a circular path around Earth to accurately deploy Synspective satellites. Now, the kick stage's 3D printed little Curie engine was ignited a few minutes ago to circularize this mission's trajectory. To keep the mission on track, soon that engine will shut down to allow the Synspective satellite to be deployed to orbit. Coming up soon will be Curie engine cutoff and payload separation for the Strix satellite from the kick stage. So let's turn up mission control comms and listen in for those confirmations.
Mr. Dick. What's up, you? Yeah, Tessa, the Vulcan suffers from the same problems as the F4 does. It looks amazing, but it flies about as good
Curie
as...
engine cutoff confirmed.
Go.
Target deployment orbit achieved.
Good. Good orbit insertion from the Curie. Very good. Everything looks okay in mission control. Nobody looks freaked
A
out.
successful Curie engine shutdown for the
Yeah.
kick stage. Only a few
All
more
right, I'm gonna
seconds
pass
to go
out
now
in this
until
heat and
it's
try
in
and nap.
position
Good
to
luck,
deploy
man.
its Inspector satellite
Good
to
luck.
orbit. Let's watch the simulation of what that payload deployment will look like.
Pythos, the moment you think you got the heat figured, you wrong. I've seen your last and replied to you, Chief. But Connie, yeah. Rocket Guy's saying the same thing. I don't know, man. Propeller planes are hard to make in KSP just because I don't have a piston radial. We should make one. So this is a 3D graphic showing what the Curie upper stage, which is that disc thing, is going to do to deploy the satellite. And I don't think I've ever seen a more generic looking satellite. We obviously know that the satellite doesn't look like that because all the reliefs in the payload fairing. So sorry, must have missed your answer. It's all good, man. Don't worry about it.
Strips for deployment confirmed.
That's what I'm talking about.
And there we go,
Right, mission
payload deployed
success, right?
successfully for Inspector Strix satellite, and our mission is now complete. Welcome back to Space Inspective. It's great to have partnered with you again for the latest deployment in your constellation. All the best for your satellite commissioning starting now.
Congratulations to the Rocket Lab team on mission number 51, just a few short weeks after our golden milestone. That's 9 Electron launches for the year now, with our 10th coming up very, very soon, so make sure you keep an eye on Rocket Lab's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram pages, along with our website for more information on our next mission. Until then, thank you so much for joining us. This is Rocket Lab Mission Control, signing off.
Good job, guys. There's a little bit of a pucker moment. Oh, pad crews are already out there saving the pad for the next mission. Sweet. Heck yeah, man. Good stuff. Check out the T10. Sukhoi T10. T10. Oh, it was the prototype. That's the prototype for the SU-27. SU-27's a pretty looking plane, dude. For sure. Did you say they have a monthly launch cadence? So far in 2024, 415, Rocket Lab has launched once a month. It's actually sub 1 month launch cadence. I think if you rounded it out, it's like a launch every 29 days. It's August 2nd, and this was their 9th mission. So sub 1 month launch cadence, dude. Not bad. Not bad. So every what is that? 27 days? Every 27 days average? That's really good. That's really good. It's kind of, I'm not going to sit. Das war nicht gut, mich Electron. Yeah. I agree. I don't know how to say I agree, but I agree. Maybe next year I'll land one of those Rocket Lab internships. Keep going, keep trying. This company is collecting L's like trophies. It's not NASA, is it? The last mission was the lander to the moon, right? No, Rocket Lab's last mission before this was, I think, another Synspective mission, if I'm remembering correctly. Du hast recht. Jawohl. So, yeah, like I said, Rocket Lab's high launch cadence is overshadowed because we get a Falcon 9 like every 2 to 3 days. But honestly, guys, a launch a month is nothing to shake your head at. That's really impressive. I'm just trying to shine a light on that because that's a Herculean effort. Even with a small sat launcher, that's really hard to do. And have these missions just go off good like that, and also managing development of Neutron and building a new launch complex at Wallops and refitting building out a launch complex at Wallops for Electron, which, that's a lot, dude. Peter Beck is making moves, man. Like, once again, it is overshadowed by SpaceX for sure, but you remove that component from you remove that from your perspective. What Rocket Lab is doing is damn impressive. Is Rocket Lab going to use Saxavord too, Tessa? Wait, what's going on here? What is this from Phantom Space? Let me switch up the streams here. We'll talk about space for a second here. You know, that's what I like doing. Rocket Lab and SpaceX are going to be players for the next decade. That's what I mean, Moist. In a sea of commercial providers, like, I'm not trying to say that the other providers aren't working hard too. Like, you got Relativity, you got Stoke, you got Firefly. There's a bunch of other companies, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch of them, but you know, I'm sure you guys will mention the company that you like in the chat. That's fair. All these other companies, not to say that they're not going like crazy, right? But, you know, you got to give credit where credit is due. What Sir Peter Beck has been able to accomplish is pretty freaking impressive, considering he's launching stuff from New Zealand. That's pretty cool, man. Now, what's Phantom Space saying? What is this? What do we? You guys are all about this. What do we got here? Sutherland is the spaceport that Rocket Lab is using. Oh, okay, cool. Right on, man. Phantom Space. Large launch vehicles result in large environmental impacts. Environmental regulations will ultimately limit the launch rates of giant rockets. The much smaller impact of small launchers will allow them to launch frequently and approach daily launch rates. What? Now, Falcon 9 is technically classified as a heavy launcher, but I'm not really 100% sure how you can say that when something like Falcon 9 launches every, like, 3 days. Technically not untrue. Not sure if there's any backing regulatory-wise for that. Rocket Guy, my guess, this is a guess, this is where EJ's speculating now, I make sure to let you know. My guess is that the reason why environmental regulations will ultimately limit the launch rates of giant rockets, as Phantom Space says, is because there really hasn't been many of those lately. That's probably the reason. Guys, you know, it's going to sound so stupid coming from me. I don't mind environmental impact surveys. It is comprehensive data that should be taken into account when you're launching something this big. Environmental assessments are not, you know, a lot of people see them as just bureaucratic nonsense. I disagree. I think an environmental impact survey is very, 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 very good because, you know, you don't want to like build a huge launch pad without like surveying and doing geological impacts on the terrain and figuring out soil sediment composition, et cetera, which is part of an environmental assessment, and figure out that your like 10,000 ton launch pad is built on unstable terrain and will eventually sink and fall over into the swamp. You said you couldn't build a launch pad on a swamp, but I built it anyway. It fell into the swamp. So I built a second one. That fell into the swamp. So I built a third one, lad. That burned down, fell over, then fell into the swamp. But the fourth one, that stayed up. That stayed up. One day, sir. One day, son. Come on. Come on, change the scene. One day, son, all of this will be yours. Oh, what, the curtains? No, not the curtains. Oh, but father, I just want to sing. There have been several research papers that show the effects of large launch vehicle sonic booms displacing the ozone layer for days, creating large holes. But that isn't permanent. That would still be a thing. Yeah, I suppose, Rocket Guy, but once again, I think there's merit to that statement, and I think more understanding is needed for, you know, long-term impacts of launching super heavy launch vehicles, right? But man, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. A small sat launcher ain't getting you to Mars. Sorry, it's not. Like, I'm just gonna be very candid. A small sat launcher, something like Electron, is not going to be used for human spaceflight to get to Mars. Guys, from SpaceX's own admission, something like Falcon 9, which is arguably one of the most capable launch vehicles ever devised with Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy, is not comprehensive enough or adequate enough for a Mars mission. That's from SpaceX, the people that made this stupid thing. So, well, I do understand that large launch vehicles could have a potential environmental impact, right? What's the alternative? What is your alternative? Many small sat launches? What does that mean? How'd Electron go? Electron went fine. Sure. Yeah, it went great. The only reason we can bang out Falcon 9 every day is because literally the pad team can't keep up. Takes more than a day to roll back, to put a new one on and roll back to the other one. Yeah, okay. Your mom's adequate enough. I don't think my mom launches things into space 95, but nice try. I'm not saying frig the environment either. The behavior should be understood and should be mitigated as much as possible, right? You don't want to screw stuff up down here, but honestly, this comes down to straight risk adversity, right? Like, I think the benefits of super heavy launch vehicles, and you could call me biased, sure. Oh, yeah. You call me biased in this regard. I think the benefit of generating a low Earth orbit economy and eventually forging an infrastructure pathway to the surface of the moon and Mars could be beneficial in mitigating environmental impacts from other things in the future. You know, it's give and take, guys, right? Like, I think this is a pretty, like, well, not wrong. Larger vehicles do have larger environmental impacts. That's like saying a big truck is less fuel efficient than a car. Like, okay, tell us something we don't know. You know? Just because big trucks are bad for the environment, does that mean we should start using a bunch of small cars instead? No. In fact, using a bunch of small cars could potentially wind up polluting more. Train supremacy. I like trains. Personally, I'm for everything, to be honest with you. I'm greedy. I want it all. I want Starship point to point. I want supersonic transports. I want regular passenger liners, small regional airplanes, flying cars below that. I want trains, high-speed rail, freight rail, cars, trucks, buses, bike paths, walk paths. I want all of it. I'm greedy. I'm greedy. I'm very, yeah, I want all of it. I want all of it. I don't want one position. I want all positions. Sorry. Are you going to play the new F1 manager? No. No. Use Starship point to fly to New Zealand? Yeah, I think this is, well, not wrong. I think this is a little bit short-sighted. I'm pretty sure this is just a way to try to show investors that your idea is seemingly superior to that. So, look, I'm not trying to be a jerk here. I'm not trying to be a jerk. If they had a press conference and they said this, here's what my question would be. And once again, I'm not trying to be a dick here. I'm just genuinely curious. Okay, you think small sat launchers are the way to go. Where's your rocket? Where is your small sat launcher that you say is more environmentally friendly, launching in high cadence? Where is that? Talk is cheap, okay? So the guy that the way that you're saying is environmentally unfriendly has launched 4 of these things into space. I'm just putting it out there, right? Okay, you think your way is better. What do you plan on doing? Where's your rocket? Talk is cheap. I plan on going to the moon in 5 years. Me, personally, I plan on going to the moon. And my way of going to the moon would be the best. How am I going to do that? I don't know. What about talk is cheap? It's hard to sit here and listen to any dissenting opinion when that thing actually exists. I'm just saying, like, that would be my honest question. Okay, what do you plan on doing about this? Where's your rocket? What's your strategy? Why do you think that's, well, you already said why you think that strategy is better. Where's your rocket? Where is it? Show me some flight hardware. The take is inherently flawed, actually. Larger rockets use less pound per payload. But yeah, I know, Aqualex. I know. That's like saying using 1,000 trucks instead of 1 container ship is somehow more environmentally friendly, which is ridiculous. Well, the guy's not wrong that the environment that company is not wrong in saying what am I trying to say? He's not necessarily wrong that regulations will constrain large launch vehicles, but I think that's more because we don't know too much about them. When's the last time somebody launched something that big? Saturn V is the only thing that even comes close, right? Or the space shuttle, right? Guys, spoiler alert, space shuttle 12 years ago. Saturn V was 50 plus. So I'll admit that there's probably, because it's the 1960s, there's probably not a lot of data on the environmental impacts of the Saturn V. So you could reasonably extrapolate it from the space shuttle, I suppose. But the space shuttle's first stage, so to speak, doesn't come back and land. The point is that I think the regulations are there because we're in uncharted territory. Once we get a fundamental understanding of the environmental impacts of a rocket, and the only way you're going to do that is by launching it a lot, then you can start to mitigate the effects. But to sit here with 100% conclusivity saying that, oh, I know for sure that it's going to be bad. I know for sure. The hippies won't allow it to launch. That's a hell of a statement. Hell of a statement to make. Not going to lie to you. That's okay. Is there a link to them actually trying to pass it off as flight hardware? Yeah, I'm not sure, Rocket Guy. Yeah. See, this is the thing. To speak with such conviction about something, all right, where's your conclusion for this? Where's your data? It's an honest question. I'm not trying to be gotcha. All right, show me some data regarding this. The article that they link is to a website called payloadspace.com, and it references SpaceX's inches closer to increasing Starship launches. In 2022, the FAA led an environmental assessment for SpaceX's initial Starship and Super Heavy launch operations at Starbase, which concluded that the rocket did not pose a significant threat to the climate and surrounding Starbase. Since then, however, a lot has changed, including the future plans for Starship, which were unveiled this year. A bigger ship, more power, more fuel, more launches. When did this article come out? Bruh. The revised programmatic environmental assessment based off of SpaceX's changes actually came out like a couple of days before this article was written, the updated one. So, all right. While SpaceX's proposal represents a significant increase in the amount of rocket traffic above Boca Chica, the FAA determined that the resulting impact to the surrounding environment and community should be minimal. Okay. The impact assessed examined a few potential environmental impacts, including air quality, climate noise. We've gone through the PEA, guys. There's a space news that I did earlier this week where we went through most of it. No, that was last week, but you get the idea. Long story short, they said that launching Falcon up to 20 plus times at Boca Chica is going to have no significant impact. Road closures. Perhaps the most frustrating aspect of Starbase for the local community has been the number of road closures on State Highway 4. By moving most of its testing to the Massey site 4 miles away, SpaceX expected the total hours of road closures would remain unchanged, 500 hours per year. The FAA opened the floor for public comments through the end of August, in which case it will prepare for the final environmental assessment and make its determination. You guys just failed to mention that they released an updated version of it like 2 weeks ago. No, we just forgot that part. That's the end of the article. All right. So this article talking about I don't understand how this article even corroborates anything that they said regarding the original tweet. Who wrote this? Douglas Gorman. How that article says nothing about what was said right here. It's funny because the closest thing remotely to a source cited here is an outdated programmatic assessment from 2 years ago. What? Am I missing something here? Like, wait a minute. The article says that Starship is not an environmental problem per the FAA in their outdated programmatic assessment. And even in the new one that came out a couple of weeks ago, which clearly these people did not hear about, it still says that it's fine. I'm super confused. I'm sorry, this is pretty funny, dude. Oh my God, dude. Like, man, if you're gonna write a hit piece, at least back it up. It's almost like you wrote this tweet thinking that people are just going to be like, oh yeah, this is a company. They're a Phantom Space company. That name sounds cool. They clearly know what they're talking about. Like, check the comments. Oh, I would love to see this. Give me 1 sec. Yeah, we'll get to KSP. I swear. Please let me read the comment section. I want to laugh. I feel like laughing today. We had such a bad day yesterday. Please let me. Just hold on. So that's Mac. Approach daily launch rate. Falcon 9 averages a launch every 3 days, and it's still speeding up. And taking into account the energy used for manufacturing, Starship's total emissions per flight are probably lower than most other vehicles. Total emissions per flight per kilogram sent to orbit. Yeah, I would agree with that. Cope and seethe. Cope, seethe, and make plus ratio. Imagine not having a rocket. Truthful. What a winner. Easiest ratio ever. What's the original tweet? The original tweet has 46 likes. Truthful is pushing 700. That's hilarious, man. One large reusable Methalox full flow stage combustion rocket is more efficient in mass to orbit and cleaner than 50 to 100 small expendable Keralox open or expander cycle rockets. Fact. I mean, having no rocket. Oh, this is great. Gosh, this just made my day. That's so funny. What are you doing? I can't share that on stream, but oh my God. Oh, I should have showed that on stream. Sorry, I went into the comments section with no gas mask, guys. That's my bad. That app's free, by the way. Oh my god, that's amazing. So good. Oh, Peter Beck has something about the Rocket Lab launch that we just saw. Hold on one second. Bit of a tip-off during separation. We'll take a look at it. We have very wide bounds on this, but like them cleaner than that. Good call. Good call. Yeah, hell of a guidance system to compensate. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's what I thought. Little bit of a tip-off during separation. What's that? Watch me ratio these frauds. It's called Phantom because their rocket doesn't exist. Yeah, that's pretty good. Sitherly, 52-month resub. Dude, my favorite part isn't even like the statement. It's that they link to an article that has no bearing on their thesis in the tweet. I'm sorry, that's really funny to me. That's like me saying, oh, Ford is better, and here's an article about hot dog eating contests to support my point. Did you know that hot dogs are transported in Ford trucks? Yeah. Yeah. A hot dog. Do I look like I know what a JPEG is? I just want a picture of a gosh dang hot dog. That's my favorite part, dude. This is ridiculous. Did you see this from Truthful? All right. That got me a follow. That's pretty funny. What up, Truthful? Your tweets make me laugh hysterically, buddy. It's so funny. Yeah. What can I say? Your posts bring me great joy. Laughing emoji face. Don't care. Oh, you know what? We're gonna meta the hell out of this. Hold on. I got a better idea. So I posted this while streaming, and chat told me that I had a typo in it, and I posted it anyway. So, you know. Doing better. Yep. Hey, doubling down is what people do nowadays, right? Like, that's the thing. No, it's definitely a typo, but whatever. You had a typo there? Excellent. Even better. Oh, boy. All right, anyway. If you ever think you're having a bad day at work, just remember, you could make typos with 500 people watching you. It's not embarrassing at all, right? So I got that going for me, which is nice. If people do it wrong enough. Yeah, English is a fluid language. That's right. Thanks, O-Force, for the clarification. Typing is rad. Yeah, for sure. Anyway. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. A little embarrassed, but, you know, double down. It's fine. So... Yeah, me neither, XJ. Isn't it possible to edit tweets? You can only edit tweets if you're Twitter Blue. I'm not that. You need X Premium. Salty. Anyway. Don't mind me, I'll just keep making a fool of myself over here. Anyway, alright. Shall we Kerbal? Shall we Kerbal? I've had enough Twitter for the day. X, go and give it. Alright, so we made some changes to Dart's wing structure, and I kind of want to see what it does during re-entry. So we're going to open up our Kerbal simulator. And actually, oh God, it's kind of gonna, I'm gonna cringe saying this a little bit, but I'm interested in seeing what that Kerbal wind tunnel mod is about. You know, it's actually 534. Don't you math? Somebody already made that joke, though. Like, a good... O-Force made that like a good minute and a half before. Did you catch the receipts of Phantom trying to pass off their render as actual hardware? Yeah, Aqualex, I see that, but honestly, a lot of people have placeholder images like that. I don't think that's necessarily them trying to do that, but simultaneously in the same breath, you're going to sit here and talk a lot. Well, guess what? Talk is cheap. Where's your rocket, buddy? Where's your rocket? Seriously, where's your rocket? You can't post it. You can't post the pictures of the development of it? Nothing? You're just going to spout off and not show your cards, right? You know, put up or shut up. Seriously. My RS1 model is good. Well, where's the explosions, Aerodine? Just an FYI, boss, you'll need to install the version 1.12.3. 1.12.3 version of the mod, as it never got updated to 1.12.5. Works with no issues. I don't understand, Tessa. Are we talking about Kerbal? Versions of Kerbal? I'm not rolling back a version. KSP, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. That's... No. Not until that behavior is understood well. It just installs automatically, just opens the can. Okay. All right, cool. Let me switch us over to KSP. Small shuttle re-entry